What's going on, everybody? It's Josh Albo, and in today's video I'm going to be going over how you can get yourself into not a 10 but potentially 10, 20, $30,000 car, 0% interest for about 25 bucks a month without hurting your personal credit. In fact, building your credit potentially. Stay tuned. I want to let you guys know ahead of time, I would recommend taking notes in these videos because you're more likely to want to remember it in your head, but then you have to watch the full video to go back over everything. So if you're grab a notepad, take your second, pause the video, and do all that shit so you get that out of the way. Let's get started. So this came about because I'm currently doing a mentorship program where I work with 10 kids, 10 people, whether not even kids, but because I'm a kid too, but 10 people about my age on a monthly basis. Although some of the people I work with are like 40 to 60-year-old business owners, basically 10 people who already have a proof of concept making, let's say, $1,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 a month, but like feel stuck, want to get it to the next level. And between their proof of concept or systems that I know work, this was one of the super requested things in the program. Because I was posting on my Instagram story how to get into a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 car, 0% interest, no money down, all that type of stuff, and how to make money with it. So I want to start also by saying the system I'm going to go over in this video has been proven, but you have to, like with all investment speculation, whatever you want to call it, you have to be super careful and you have to do your due diligence because it's real money on the line when this is all going, and you'll get what I'm getting at when I get deeper into the video. I highly recommend against buying a car that you can't afford. This is more so, it's something to do, it makes money, you don't have to put your capital into something necessarily, but I would not by any means, if you are only making $30,000 a year, or which comes out to less than $3,000 a month, by no means would I say go buy a $30,000 car. That makes absolutely no sense at all. That would be jeopardizing to your financial future, so don't do that. However, let's say you got a couple, like $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 laying around, and okay, I want to go, like, what can I do with it to make money? By the way, I also like cars. Like, that's a cool Beamer, that's a cool Mercedes, Audi, whatever you like. If you like Mustangs, Camaros, like, I don't even care if you're really smart and you can put your ego and your immaturity aside, I would even go get find something that's quick to flip, like maybe like a Honda Civic that you can buy for $5 and sell for $8 every day of the week because it's a normal person car. Nothing wrong with Honda Civics. I'm sure they get great gas mileage. It doesn't excite me, but if you were really smart and mature and didn't just care about the image side, so maybe you're more progressed than me, let's say, I would recommend doing that. So how this is set up is we're gonna start with this. I recommend that you're into cars, so you'll enjoy doing all those stuff. I recommend that you can afford the car that you're purchasing as if you were to buy it in whole. And aside from like liking cars, I would recommend knowing at least a little bit about it so you can guesstimate, and also maybe some time. So let's say an hour or two today to do this. So the way we're gonna set this up is you're gonna go to Secretary of State or whoever. When I filed for my LLCs, I paid somebody to do those for me so I didn't have to worry about them. You can do that. Let's say maybe that's like $200, $300. But if you want to just do it yourself, I think it's like $100, $175 bucks. So you're going to go to Secretary of State or wherever the heck they do it. Literally just Google how to file for an LLC. It'll be very simple. I want to say it's 2 places. That'll be $100, $200, $300 bucks tops. Like there's no way it should be more than that. And then from there, within a couple weeks, they're going to send you an EIN number. Your EIN number for your business is like your social security number for your personal. That's going to be what you take to either your bank. I highly recommend Chase. Also, Chase just came out with a second business credit card with 0% APR for the first 15 or 18 or 12, whatever amount of months. They'll have the specifics on it, but that way, once you have the EIN number, you can open a business bank account. When you open a business bank account, you can open a credit card with 0% APR for 12, 15, 18 months, depending on what's available. And this is just with Chase specifically. If you go on www.comparecards.com, which I keep going back to, even though I probably should be sponsored by either them or Chase. Like one of them needs to just start incentivizing me because I'm not yet. But if you go to Chase, the website, whatever, it'll give you all the different options for personal credit cards, but I want to keep this strictly business. Let's say they'll give you anywhere from 20 to 40 grand per card, plus at least, like, depending on your personal credit, they might only give you 5 grand. They might give you 100 grand. Like, this is based on the results I've seen. So between 2 cards, let's ballpark numbers, between 2 credit cards, business credit cards, let's say you have anywhere from 50 to, let's for easy math, let's say $50,000 in credit, and it's going to be 0% interest on those on the charges on that card for 12 to 18 months, depending on which card it is. Again, this is why you'll see I don't want you guys to invest or speculate or buy a car to flip if you can't afford it itself, because at the same time, when you buy this car, the way I'm going to show you how to do it, it can be dangerous if it doesn't sell, and there's times when you might have to hold the car for a few months. So if you can't afford the car, just don't buy it. Just buy a $5,000 to $6,000 car that maybe you can afford if something were to happen, let's say. That way you won't be worried about taking too much of a hit or not being able to pay the margin calls, in a sense, at the end, if the time comes and the car doesn't sell. The model itself, once all this stuff is set up, is I want you to go online, Copart.com, usedcars.com, carguru.com. Copart's a bidding site, and I'll explain how to go through there specifically either later in this video or just make a separate video about that. But go on there. If you go on Copart, you want to buy a car that's no license required, so you don't need a dealer's license because that's a $50,000 bond. And the whole point is to get this in for 25 bucks a month, because that's going to be the credit card payment once you purchase the car. Go on there. I want you to find a car that you can sell for double what you buy it for. And I want this margin to be at least $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So let's say you find a car for $20K, maybe not double. If you find a car for $20K, I want it to be at least worth $25 to $30. So that any parts you have to put into it, whether it's parts, labor, it needs tires, it needs something screwed up on the engine that needs fixed, I want there to be no possible chance that you get stuck with this car, because that would suck and then it would be a losing investment. And it's going to take time. When I flipped my 7 Series last year, I think I looked for cars for 4 to 6 months consistently before I found one that I knew I could flip for profit, and I got an absolute steal on that thing. And it was cool. In the meantime, the insurance on it was like $460 a month, but I just put the insurance on the business credit cards because it's all going to be business associated with the business specifically. So there's going to be a business car, all of that's going to be separate. So when you finally do find the car that you think you can flip, that you're confident you can flip, KBB values are good, NADA guides values are good. These are ways to tell how much the car's worth. Inspect the car. You can have a private inspector. With Copart, you can have a private inspector go out. Let's say it's $100 to get an inspection. If it's not on Copart, if you're just buying it off of Craigslist or a used car lot or whatever it is, as long as you can use the credit card to purchase the car, an inspection on the car is maybe going to be $150, $100, $200, depending on what. Have somebody professional go look at the car, make sure that the value's there, make sure that it's worth it, it's in good running condition. I wouldn't buy anything with over, first time, I would definitely say under 100,000. I would like to keep you in the anywhere from like 30 to 60,000 miles range, because past that, it does get dangerous. Shit starts breaking. Usually the warranty on cars is up to 60 or 70,000 miles. I know for European cars. So that way you stay safe. So let's say less than 65,000 miles are the types of cars you want to look at, and then anything from 2012 and newer, because past that we're starting to get like 8-10 years old. We don't want to look at those. With Copart specifically, pay attention to this. Their fees are where they're going to get you, that you don't realize it when you're bidding on the car. So you might see a car that is worth $15K and it's bidding for $5 or $6, but when you buy that, they have another like $5 to $7 to $1,500 worth of fees. So be careful on that side as well. That's why I kind of don't like Copart, but you can get cars for super cheap on there. Also take notes on this. You're going to want to get a quote for the insurance ahead of time. I was overpaying a shit ton for insurance. I literally, like, this car was such, I waited and I was so patient on this car that I couldn't lose. I could have, like, there was nothing that could possibly have happened where I didn't make money on this car, which is what I want you to do. I want you to have the patience to not just jump into a brand new, like, S4 just because, oh, like, there's a 14 S4 on Copart right now for sale. It's a pretty car. But I want you to just jump into it because, oh, it looks like a good deal. Look at 100 cars like for sale before you actually pick one. Robert Kiyosaki, who's a real estate investor, talks about, he took a real estate course and they said, look at 100 deals and don't buy anything. And then do your due diligence on every single deal. And then if you don't find one that's perfect, look at another 100 and then do it. So like, just take the time. It's not quick money. It's easy money. If you do your due diligence, it's not even easy money. It's simple money. If you can find a car that NADA guides, KBB, if you look on Craigslist, that's what they're going for. If you look on Car Gurus, that's what they're going for. Car Gurus will give you an estimate of what the price will be too, and that's what actual cars are selling for. And you can see all the cars they're selling for. So let's say you found a 2012 X5 for like 7 or 8 grand, but it's worth like 12 to 15. If you can get it for less than that 7 to 8 grand with a nice window, so that even if they're $1,000 in the Copart fee or whatever, some type of expense comes up, plus you're gonna have to pay 3, 4, 5 on foreigns especially, 3, 4, $500 a month on insurance. Plus, let's say there's $2,000, $3,000 worth of damage on the car, not necessarily like physical damage, but the engine might need work, or the transmission, or like a coolant. Like there's things that come up with flipping these cars. That's why they're so inexpensive. So I don't want you to find something that needs a whole new back bumper if you're not a mechanic. But if it's just got like a scratched rim, or if it needs new tires, like something simple that you would be able to, on your own personal level, comprehend, understand, be able to fix, or pay somebody to fix most likely. And there's such a big margin, like at least like a $5,000 to $6,000 margin for safety. If you have to ship it there, that's another couple, $500. Max shipping is going to be anywhere like from California to Michigan is like $800 to $1,000. That's the most it's going to be really for shipping. I got one car shipped up from Louisiana, and that was several $100s. But I had already booked that into it before I even purchased the car. I called somebody that said, hey, if I buy this car, how much will it be to ship? Looked at the insurance, taxes when you purchase the car, that anything over $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 car, depending on what kind of car it is, are also going to be a nice chunk because you have to pay taxes on that. I would do a temp plate, so you can get a 90, or I want to say it's a 90-day plate or a 60-day plate when you go to the Secretary of State. So you fill out you get your like your license plate and your tags and all that stuff in Michigan. And Michigan insurance is going to suck. So if you're not in Michigan, more power to you, because then your insurance rates won't be so high. But calculate any expenses you can possibly think of. Insurance, shipping, fixing it, a detail maybe, inspections, a couple $100, details a couple $100. Write all these things down, like we talked about, and then go into this deal so that you literally cannot lose money. Like if you have any concern about it, thought about it, and do it over, let's say, what if it takes a year to sell the car? The interest rate will be fine on the credit card itself, which is not why I want you to be able to afford the car, so that if the time does come and it doesn't sell, you can pay off the credit card bill in full, and then you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm paying 26%, like some ridiculous, unheard of, like insane rate to be paying, let alone for a depreciating liability. So I don't want you guys to be doing that, because that's not smart. But the payment on the card, this is where it gets really cute. Let's say the car is 10 grand, and you got another 2K in expense. Let's say car is 10 grand, but it's worth 18 to, let's say it's worth 20. Let's say it's worth 18, but you listed it at 20. Car's worth 10, you pay 10 grand for the car. Taxes in Michigan is gonna be 6%, so another $600 in there. Tags and plates on a foreign car is gonna be another $300, $400, $500, $1,000. So now we're all in at 12. And let's say we need insurance every month. So let's say 6 months of insurance is $2,000 to $3,000. Now we're at 15. There's still a $5,000 window, which is huge. Even if I sell the car for 18 or 17K, within a year period when the bill's due, I'm only paying $25 a month. All of the expenses are going on that card. And if you got a 20K credit line on the card, let alone a 50, if you have multiple cards or even one card, depending on what line you get, base it off that. Realistically, the smart way to do this is buy two, or like start with one. I wouldn't jump like right into it if you've never flipped cars before, but start with a $2,000 or $3,000 car that has nothing wrong with it. It's just a good deal, and sell it for $5,000. Do a couple of those, because $2 grand, $2 grand, $2 grand, $2 grand, $2 grand, 5 times, which would be like 8 or 10, depending like on what you make per car, is a lot better than worrying about only getting one car for 10 to 15. That's more so the reason I would say if you can afford to go with a bigger car, go with a bigger car, because you're probably going to enjoy $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, if not even like you could, for 35K you can get like a Jag F-Type, Challenger, like whatever you like, something like that's actually cool. Maybe not an R8 or something, or a Lambo, but like something that's cool, quick, if you are into cars. But maybe for 5 grand you don't necessarily like 2012 like Honda Civic like we talked about. But the options are there. I hope this video answered your questions. If it doesn't, I can make a specific video about Copart. So as always, if you have any questions, reach out to me on Instagram at @TheJoshAlbo. And I do my best to get back to you guys as soon as possible. I've been super, super, super busy lately. Business has been good, business has been great, but I'll do whatever I can to get back to you. Also, if you want a quick way to get a hold of me, email me at summitsme@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And then if you ask me about this specifically, I want you to subscribe to my channel. So then when the other videos come out that other people are already asking about, you'll get the notification. And I think you have to click the notification bell too, so that you get like told. Until next time, everybody.